Hi guys, and welcome to my review of the latest KBEAR Storm and also the CCA FLA. I want to start by apologizing for my silence in the last couple of days. I know it's been a few days since I've actually made a review, but holiday season and family has to come first. You have to pay attention to the ones that are there for you all year round. And give them that little extra attention. So my apologies if I haven't been as active as I would like. Anyway, on to the review for the KBEAR Storm, which is their latest 10mm dynamic driver, single dynamic driver, and also the CCA FLA, which is also a 10mm single dynamic driver. Both of them are priced at around $15. And before I carry on, I want to say that this is somewhat of a little bit of a frustrating review to do because the market has become so competitive, and you have such offerings at the under $15 price range, at the under $20 price range, at the under $30 price range, at the under $50, under $75, under $100 range, that it is very complicated for any reviewer, and in this case I'll be talking about myself, to sometimes be 100% fair towards a brand and towards a product that they are launching. Although, having said this, I think that they themselves are a victim of their own desire to want to continuously launch products, while some brands have a different philosophy, and they just want to stick to a few launches a year, and that's that. Other brands like KZ and to a certain extent as well KBEAR and TRN, they believe in launching 10 IMs a month, and this then makes it extremely difficult for us reviewers to be able to convey to you, the end user or the end buyer, what is the best product to buy, because the majority of the times the differences are minimal. Not only minimal between all those launches being made in such a short period of time, but as well minimal compared to launches of the previous year. Anyway, let me get straight into this. I'll be talking to you first about the CCA, and then I'll talk to you about the KBEAR. The CCA FLA is a more polished version of what was launched about a month ago, which is the KZ, in November actually. What is the KZ EDCX? And this is an IM which had already been launched before the EDC. In its original launch, I actually never got an EDC. I never bought it, but it was a somewhat neutral, bright IM. Fixed cable, and very, very simple construction, very basic construction, and it was a fine IM. This one, the X version, which is the new one of it, the X version, KZ followed up on what they've been doing over the last couple of I would say not the last couple of months, what they've been doing for the majority of 2022, which is making sure that they start tuning proper products, not only as single DDs, not only as full BA sets, not only as hybrids, not only as planars, but instead of just churning out IM after IM without any attention being paid to the tuning, they've actually started tuning their IMs in a much more proper manner, let's put it that way. And that whole era, let's say, of better tuning began with the CCA CRA, which I have over here. It was then followed up by the EDA balanced, the EDA trio actually, where the balanced was the one I personally liked the most, that you had the base, that balanced, and the high resolution one. Then the EDX Ultra, then the CRA Plus, then the Lyra, then the CXS, so they've continued to make sure that the IMs are properly tuned. Small variations between them, minor variations between them. Out of all of those that I mentioned, I still think the two that really stand out CCA Balanced and the EDX Ultra. Those two, personally for myself, I think they are very well tuned, very nice. Of the older sets, the CRA still stands strong as an amazing set, a really amazing set. And as I was saying, they recently launched the EDCX using a new driver that they have, not the famous XUN driver that they use in the other better sets, let's put it that way. And this one, instead of using any, or resorting to the use of a fancy diaphragm material, DLC, CNT, beryllium coating, titanium, anything, they've just gone for a good old-fashioned PET diaphragm, 6 micron thick. So let's say the normal standard thickness for that kind of a diaphragm. They also didn't choose or opt for anything special there, but they just made sure that they tuned it properly, and they tuned it in a Harman styled, and it plays good. The reality is it's let's forget now, oh, how is the sound stage and how is the imaging and how is the detail. Let's forget all of that. This is $10. It's supposed to play well, and that's what it does, play well for $10, and it plays fantastically well for $10. It's unoffensive, it's not aggressive, you've got no real harshness, you've got no real sibilance, it's got very nice bass, it's got decent enough dynamics, decent enough texture, obviously always in the context of what it is for $10. Okay, fixed cable, blah, but fine. It's one of those IEMs you can shove it in your ears, go and work out, and if you get sweaty all over them, or if you drop your protein drink on top of them, you're not going to worry. And they'll probably survive, to be honest with you. And they play well, they play decently well, they're fun. The FLA is all of that, plus the fact that it's got a detachable cable and a nice faceplate. Because the faceplate has this what it seems to be this open back, semi-open back design, the tonality of the FLA as compared to the EDCX is slightly different, but I mean it is such a small difference that it's let me put it to you this way. I bought 5 of these. I've given away some of them. I bought them for the sake of taking them to Germany. They all sound the same, period. They all sound good, fine. I bought 3 of these. They all sound the same. When I put this on and when I put that on, the biggest difference that I do notice, honestly, is that this has just got a little bit nicer tonality. That's it. And I honestly think that difference is down to the fact that I'm able to put a nice cable. I'm actually using a Duno cable on this here. With the stock cable, honestly, I don't notice any difference to the EDC. And the cable here could just be even a placebo thing, not even real difference. That's the only thing. Otherwise, they both have the same type of tuning, a Harman style tuning. They don't have tons of extension, so there's not a lot of brightness, which will give a very realistic detailed retrieval, but it's not an overemphasized detailed retrieval. It's not in your face. Female vocals are fine, male vocals are fine. Bass, like I said, is again more than agreeable. It's full, it's fun and engaging. Handles bass heavy music very nicely. EDM, fine. Rock plays decently for the most part as well. I mean, this is not something that you're going to be using for critical listening. But yeah, like I said, it's a nice looking IEM. As you can see, it's got a metal faceplate, a plastic shell. The driver is exactly the same as the driver on the EDC. Removable cable. I'm using some KBEAR 7 tips, which are the ones I usually like, as I've actually put on here as well, as you can see, as I'm using on the CRA, just to kind of maintain a commonality in that respect. And it's a nice warm sounding V signature, well, V-ish harmonish signature. It sounds nice, plays great, fantastic. What is the other one that I have here? It's the new KBEAR Storm, like I've just mentioned. Box as well is a very simple box. Really, I mean, I didn't go through the boxes because it's honestly really not not a necessity. They kind of look the same. Just a quick thing just to mention is that the impedance of the CLA of the FLA, sorry, is 20 ohms, and the impedance here of the KBEAR is 32 ohms, which when you look at that by itself, you would think that okay, well, this one will probably play a little bit louder, but no, actually this one's more this has got higher sensitivity, so this one's actually plays louder with the same volume level set on the devices that I used. I used the KBEAR X5K. I also used my usual Frankenstein to have some listening to have them listen to, and that's it. Anyway, like I was saying, the Storm. How can I? Well, the Storm to start with. Apologies for that. The Storm is definitely a more V-shaped signature. It's got a nice welcome dip in that 4.5 to 6K area there, which does away with any possible aggressiveness and sibilance that might occur at that point, and that some of us are sensible to. And I've got some sensitivity in that area, so I'm actually glad that it's got a dip there. What I did find that the KBEAR is a little bit more sensitive to, as opposed to the FLA, and I'm actually not going to talk too much about the EDCX, because I mean this is pointless. I'm just going to just take it away here. Is that although here, the tip that I chose was my usual selection or tip that I like using, the KBEAR, and it played fine. Over here, actually, I got the best results, funny enough, with the starline inverted, with an inverted starline. That was actually the tip that gave me the nicest results. I tried it as well with the KBEAR 07, and it played okay, but with this, there was just a little bit extra more detail, minor but noticeable. So I found the Storm to be a little bit more needing of a little bit of tip rolling. So that's one thing I would mention on here. So definitely a V-shaped signature. The bass is got more of a mid-bass emphasis as opposed to the bass on the FLA, which is perhaps a little bit more sub-bass focused, but by no means is there any lack of sub-bass ability. There is obviously a little bit of a bass bleed, and that does kind of make the mids, especially the female vocals, sound a little bit recessed or laid, but not recessed, a little bit back, but nothing really that is in any way a deal breaker. I mean, this compared, for example, to the Rose Finch, which is a more expensive IEM from KBEAR, this actually is a more balanced and more coherent sounding IEM than the Rose Finch. The reality is that the Rose Finch in standard format is an absolute bass monster, excessive amounts of bass in my opinion, that just spoils the whole presentation, because the driver used in there is actually not a bad driver, and I retuned the Rose Finch by lowering basically the bass, and it's a completely different IEM by doing that. Completely different, much nicer. It doesn't lose much of that emphasis on having a nice full bass, but because it lowers the level of it because I was able to lower the level quite significantly, it becomes way more balanced and much more pleasurable to listen to. No, the Storm in that aspect is more balanced. It's been more intelligently tuned. And it plays fine. I mean, if I have to compare this to the FLA, they kind of are under the same umbrella of what is the intention, which is a fun sounding IEM, which unoffensive, not aggressive, plays well most music genres or a wide variety of music genres, and something which doesn't cost an arm and a leg. And if you get some, like I said, some protein shake on it, or if you drop your Coke on it, you're not gonna, oh my god, I've just, no. The construction again is a basic construction. I actually got this blue and purple one, which is reminiscent of the VK4 from QKZ. I think I should have gotten the transparent one to be honest. Now, I mean, it's not that it looks bad. It's just the quality of the plastic is not the ideal. So I mean, something transparent like the FLA does look a little bit more polished. Let's put it that way. As for the sound in more detail, bass is nice. It's got nice dynamics. It's full. It's engaging. It's relatively quick. It's not a slow bass. The mids are fine. Like I said, only the female vocals I found them maybe a little bit laid back. Nice detail in terms of treble extension and so on and so forth. Better than the FLA in that aspect. But at the same time, if on the one hand it's got more energy and it's more detail, and things like detailed retrieval are improved over the FLA, and imaging as well is slightly improved over the FLA. I'm not talking major differences here, but there is slight improvements. You will also notice that the sound here seems obviously more colored, it's more pushed, while over here that tonality, that timbre is more realistic. It might be a warmer sounding, a little bit more darker sounding IEM, but the tonality and the timbre and the instruments come across all in a more realistic manner. Over here, things come across a little bit more pushed. So obviously, they will be tailored for different liking, for people with different tastes. If you like your treble lively and full of energy, then definitely the Storm. If you want a more chilled out, relaxed presentation, then you probably go for the FLA. As I mentioned, the price is basically the same for one or the other. I'm not going to say the construction. I mean, I prefer the construction of the FLA, honestly, but I think it's also down to the fact, like I mentioned, that I chose this color. If I'd chosen the transparent one, maybe the difference wouldn't be as significant, the FLA does weigh a little bit more because of the metallic faceplate. Both of them bring very basic standard cables and accessories. I mean, both of them. I'm not using the stock cables with either one of them, as you can see. And so that's it. I mean, they're both interesting IEMs, what they are, in a segment which is overcrowded with plenty of IEMs. I mean, you got the Zero at $15, plays amazing. Issue here is the fit, but plays really nice. You've got the S-Gore Venus at as well, the same $15-17 bracket. Very nice construction, plays amazing. It's got a sound very reminiscent of the EDA Balanced. So the problem with both of these IEMs is not so much they themselves, but rather the market in which they are integrated, which is a very competitive, very aggressive market. And I can understand the frustration of brands, because you have to come up with some amazing, outstanding, unique feature that will make them stand out, and it's not easy. The reality is not easy. One last thing I just wanted to mention on with regards to both of these has to do with let's say not the IEMs they replace, but what were the IEMs that previously occupied this price range for their respective brands. And previously, what you had at like this original price here, I'm not talking about the fact that you can pick up an EDA Balanced or a EDX Ultra or a CRA for almost the same price, was the CRA, the original CRA. And the original CRA, and this is just, I'm going to be very blunt. The original CRA is better than the FLA, period. Better driver, better everything. My apologies for being so straightforward, but yes, the original one is better than the FLA. Okay. If you also at the same time own an EDA Balanced or an EDX Ultra or a Lyra or a CXS or something, is this worth it? No, not really worthwhile. No, honestly, not worthwhile. I really wouldn't go. As for the KBEAR compared to the KS1, which I have over here, the KS1, if I was to use it with a silicone tip, it was gonna murder me. Period. It was for its time. It was a nice, decently tuned, cheap IM, but things evolve, and they've evolved dramatically. So when I compare this to the new Storm, the Storm is miles better than the original KS1. Everything in terms of how coherently tuned it is as compared to the KS1, there's no comparison. There was a significant bass bleed. It was, it was good, it was fine, engaging, so on, but that bass bleed was there. It was noticeable, and depending on what you heard, it would spoil, music, some of the music that you were listening to. That doesn't happen here on the Storm. The Storm they've done a better job with regards to that. There is still some bleed, but minor. I also find the bass here a little bit more polished up as well, as compared to the original KS1. In terms of sibilance and aggressiveness or harshness of the sound, the Storm is superior to the KS1. The KS1, for you to be able to listen, or at least for me to be able to listen to it properly, I have to use foams. T400s, as you can see. Otherwise, it's gonna try and kill me, and I'm really not up for it, to be honest. So in this case, yes, there has been an improvement. This IM is basically priced at the same value as the KS1 was originally priced, and this is a superior IM to the original KS1. So in that aspect, yes, definitely go for it. So yes, to finalize, I mean, warmer, more cozy type of sound on the FLA, slightly more brighter, more detailed, but still non-aggressive sound on the KBEAR. So two different crowds of people which are being focused upon. Their biggest flaw is, like I just mentioned, the fact that the market is inundated with tons of other options, and I haven't even mentioned things like the Tangzo 1 Ear, the 7 Hertz Sound Note 0. These are all IMs which are $1, $2, $3, $4 away from what these are priced at, and it makes it complicated. These IMs, in my opinion, either one of them, or IEMs that you would buy if you just want something to go and run outside and go to the gym and you just want to beat them. If you want a nice, decent sounding beater IEM, let's put it that way, these ones definitely are options. All right. Anyway, guys, thank you. Yeah, I'll see you in the next one. As always, don't forget, like and subscribe. Any questions you might have, please feel free to ask. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.